What is up, everybody? Welcome back. We did it. We watched this movie finally. I know it took a little longer than usual, but I was in New York making a movie, so no big deal. Don't worry about it. I'll show it to you when it's ready, but it's not ready, so we're back here doing our Filmstruck Film Club, and maybe you've never been here before, and if that's the case, then welcome. You weren't waiting very long at all. You were looking up this movie, and you found it. You found at least me talking about it. But we talk about a movie every week. We pick a movie every week, and we watch a movie every week, and you're more than welcome to join us. There's a whole list of stuff that we've watched before this week, and you can find it on Letterboxd, you can find it on Instagram, you can find it on Facebook. It's very easy to find. Filmstruck Film Club. Anyway, I'm Carson Higgins. This is Groot, and we always sit down and talk about movies that we watch in this club because we watch some pretty cool stuff. This week, or rather, it wound up being about 2 weeks, but we watched a very cool movie. Maybe you've heard of this guy, Martin Scorsese. Scorsese, however you say it, that's how we say it here. And it is his 1985 film, After Hours. Had you seen it before? Maybe you had, maybe you hadn't. But maybe you thought that this was like a lesser Martin Scorsese movie. I could skip that one. Until you watched it this week and you realized, why did I ever skip this one? It is so good. Scorsese has an interesting past, does he not? There's that period where he was doing a lot of cocaine. This is kind of in that period. He'll tell you. I'm not putting him on blast. But he seemingly like went through a little bit of a rough patch, maybe. But it's so weird to call it a rough patch because he was still like picking up awards and getting all kind of mad respect from everybody. I mean, this movie here, After Hours, maybe it's, like number 10, 11, 12, 13, somewhere on like your list of favorite Scorsese films. And yet it was nominated for an Academy Award for Golden Globes. It won Best Film at the Independent Spirit Awards. Martin Scorsese won Best Director at the Cannes Film Festival. And this film was nominated for the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. So people liked it when it came out. But for whatever reason, just as time has gone on, people love Taxi Driver and Raging Bull and Goodfellas and The Departed, whatever. And this one, along with some of his other, because let's face it, the guy doesn't do a whole lot of comedy, right? So it's kind of a strange genre for him to be playing around in. And yet, in this period of the early 80s, he made two of the finest dark comedies America's ever produced. If you've never seen The King of Comedy, that is a really good one, starring Robert De Niro. And this one is just one guy's terrible night in New York City. If you have the Criterion Channel, perhaps you've seen that they added like 60 movies about New York, and this was one of them. So I was curious to check it out. A, we hadn't watched a Scorsese in a while. B, I like to take advantage of the new stuff that they pour onto the Criterion Channel. So picking this film was a whole lot of fun for me. I usually pick stuff that I've never seen before. This one I had seen once upon a time. And I'm talking like 15 plus years ago. So I didn't even really remember much of this film. But the music, Howard Shore's music, is so eerie. And the whole movie just has this like very kind of unsettling feeling the whole time. And it's just one of those like, if you could put all of the worst things that could happen to you, you go out for a date with someone you just met at 11:30 p.m. and when your money flies out of the window of the cab, you're already off to a rough start. But yeah, this poor guy, Paul, his night just gets ruined chasing Marcy around. He's just like trying to get laid, I think. And it really turns into quite an ordeal for him. He winds up very far downtown. He lives very far uptown, and it's one of those, trying to go throw the ring in the fire of Mordor. It's a tough journey for this guy. He's constantly either out of money and can't get home, or he loses his keys and can't get home. He gets kind of trapped by some pretty wacky women throughout the evening, and it's just a very strange trip through New York. If you've never spent a night in New York, maybe you resonate with this in a certain way. But for those of us that have lived in or spent some time in New York, this evening that Paul winds up having is kind of like the most extreme version of something that damn near everyone that lives in New York has had an experience of just running into strange people and getting trapped. But it's really the guy who wrote this film. I forget his name. Look it up. But he like hadn't really done much. He wrote this as like his thesis film out of film school and got an A+. And then it sold and Martin Scorsese made it. So I mean, this guy had quite the rocket out of college. But yeah, I had always kind of put this film in like its own little subgenre because it's like Martin Scorsese's got all of his, his gangster movies are kind of his gold standard, and then he's got some like religious films. But then he just has like a couple of one-offs that, Griffin Dunne comes to mind, Age of Innocence comes to mind, this comes to mind, where they're just kind of like these outliers where it's just like he's trying on a genre that he hasn't really played around in before. And, God damn it, the guy has done pretty much everything but a Western at this point. He's done a musical. If you haven't seen New York, New York, that is something you could watch if you wanted. My experience with it was I didn't love it. But it doesn't matter because Scorsese is one of the best American directors we got. He's still making some of the best movies there is. I'm a big Irishman fan. I don't know about you. But yeah, this movie After Hours, I mean, I don't even really know what to say other than it is such a strange and wonderful film. I'm trying to even think of like what it reminds me of. It almost feels like it should have been made by like Paul Thomas Anderson or the Safdie brothers or people who basically are students of Martin Scorsese. It's kind of like they wound up taking nuggets from this and King of New York and Color of Money and making films like that, which is, an admirable thing to do instead of just straight up copying Goodfellas or something. But yeah, I mean, there's both of the parents from Home Alone appear in this film. So if that doesn't do it for you, I don't know what does. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say, honestly. I thought it was I've always admired the poster, right? His head on the watch is such a striking image, and it always made me think like, I wonder if that's any good. And so it was really nice to revisit it, and I'm glad that the Criterion Channel put it out there for us to watch because it has gained a bit more respect over the years. Even in the more recent years, I feel like people are kind of discovering or rediscovering this film and finding that it is not, some rotten fruit that fell off the tree. This is a certified diamond in the rough. It's one of the great examples of when a filmmaker just has so many good films. Some of their mid-level stuff is even some of the better movies you're ever going to watch. So yeah, I would love to know what you thought of this film. If you had any like, oh my God, I hated it, or I absolutely loved it, it's my favorite Scorsese film, let me know. I would love to know. Hit me up at Filmstruck Film Club, and I would love to interact with you guys a little bit. So yeah, we're going to have another movie. I swear to God, we're going to watch it this week. We're going to have a new pick tomorrow, right, Groot? We're going to watch it together, and we'll be right back. So we'll do this again, and peep the list of stuff that we watched if you're new and you want to get involved. Let me know some stuff that maybe you're like, hey, these are some films maybe that the club would like. And, I'll give you a shout out and all that fun stuff. So hit me up. Let me and Groot know what you want to watch. Let me know what you thought of After Hours. And, yeah, I hope you're enjoying this, the end of summer. We're in the dog days of summer, baby. I'm still milking it with my tank top, so who cares? But, much love to you guys. Hope to see you around. Another movie coming. We'll see you soon.